So Tucker Carlson did some live coverage thing of the DNC and of Kamala Harris's speech. And of course, he couldn't help but have a Tucker Carlson moment for us here. So he's going to react to part of Kamala's speech here and listen to his description of what Kamala is.
Consider what he intends to do if we give him power again. Consider his explicit intent to set free violent extremists who assaulted those law enforcement officers at the Capitol. His explicit intent to jail journalists, political opponents, and anyone he sees as the enemy.
Can I just interject here for a second? This woman's really scary. She could easily get elected president. She's much more skillful than I have ever seen. She's a liar on the deepest level. The things she is saying right now are not just untrue, they're the opposite of the truth.
Which things? Which things aren't true? Which things aren't true? I'm about to break it down for you in a second. It absolutely is true. Which things aren't true? Be specific.
Which is the hallmark of evil. She's an extremist. She'll say anything. She's much more like Gavin Newsom than I ever realized. I could go through a whole litany of why what she's saying is not true. It wasn't an armed mob. There's not one person inside the Capitol with a firearm, period.
Oh, my God.
The only person who was shot in the Capitol was an unarmed woman shot by one of Nancy Pelosi's bodyguards.
Oh, my God.
So again and again, she's telling us that she fought the cartels to secure the border. She's the border czar, and the border is controlled by the cartels.
The border is controlled by the cartels? Oh, my God. Oh, my. What am I going to do with these people, bro? God, by the way, you are the only audience in the country that knows the reality about the border. That, first of all, Republicans and Democrats are very conservative on the border. Second of all, under the Joe Biden administration, there were more deportations, both as a raw number and as a percentage. The Joe Biden administration deported more than Donald Trump did, and they act like it's fucking open borders and all. God, he's such a liar.
She argued that Donald Trump, quote, tried to throw away your vote.
That's factual. They did the fraudulent elector slates. They wanted to make sure that they couldn't certify Joe Biden's election victory. That's what January 6th was all about. And by the way, they succeeded for a short period of time. And even after the violence on January 6th, Trump and his staffers were on the phone calling senators saying, don't certify Joe Biden's election victory. So what's being said by Kamala is 100% accurate. He tried to stay in power. This is not open to debate or discussion. This is a fact of reality. But wait, he's about to drop the anvil on your head. Ready?
Didn't the Democrat Party just throw away all the votes and install her?
Well, exactly.
Exactly. It's not that Joe Biden is 472 years old and everybody, including Republicans, were like, hey, he's got to go. He doesn't have the mental capability to do it. And eventually, there was enough pressure where he said, you know what? I don't have the ability to do this. I'm going to step down. I can't be president for another 4 years. I'm struggling as it is right now. And then she, as the vice president, stepped in. Because, by the way, if Joe Biden were to die in office, what would happen? Oh, that's right. Kamala Harris would be president. She's next in line. So Joe Biden, who was a nominee, by the way, Kamala Harris was on the name of the ballot when people voted for Joe Biden. He steps aside, right? What do you think is going to happen? Of course, the vice president is going to be the one. They're conflating Trump trying to overthrow a Democratic election with Joe Biden willingly stepping aside. And they're acting, who's more authoritarian? Are you fucking kidding me? They know how weaselly this is. They know it's bullshit. They're just partisan hacks.
She's saying that Donald Trump will free from prison violent extremists, meaning like 75-year-old lower middle class women with diabetes.
I think he's alluding there to Alice Johnson, which was one of the best things Trump did. And I'm willing to give credit where credit's due. And I gave him a phenomenal amount of credit on the Alice Johnson thing.
Defunding the police and opening the prisons to allow actual criminals out, which is why the crime rate has spiked.
Imagine spreading the lie that you believe, oh, Kamala Harris is going to defund the police. The meme on the left is that Kamala is a cop. She's a cop. She was a prosecutor. By the way, the argument was, man, she's a little too tough on crime. She even cracked down on fucking truancy. She locked up a lot of people. Maybe some of those people shouldn't have been locked up. You can't say simultaneously, too tough on crime. Kamala's a cop. She's a prosecutor, and she went after too aggressively people, and be like, oh, she's gonna free open all the prisons and come on, man. You guys aren't even fucking trying. You guys aren't even trying. Holy shit.
The police and opening the prisons
defunding the police.
Allow actual criminals out, which is why the crime rate has spiked, to allow the population of Venezuela's prisons, Caracas's prisons are now living in the United States.
Oh my God. He's just repeating Trump lies now. Trump goes out there all the time and says, the criminals, the rapists, all these bad people from other countries, they're emptying their prisons and they're sending them here. They're emptying their prisons and they're sending them here. And our crime rate's going up and their crime rate's going down. Well, first of all, it's not true. Our crime rate has been going down. That's a fact. Second of all, to the extent that argument has ever been true, there was one time where it was verified and recorded that another country emptied their prisons and sent those people here. It was from Cuba. And all of those Cuban criminals were welcomed with open arms by the Republican Party. Why? Because they were likely to vote Republican. Because they're against Fidel Castro. They view all Democrats as basically communists like Fidel Castro. So they vote Republican loyally, election after election. And all of the Republicans said, welcome. In fact, they made it so if Cubans step foot on soil in America, they're immediately citizens. So the one-time prisons were actually emptied, and they came here, the Republicans said, yay, criminals here. Oh my God.
I guess what I'm saying is, and I don't want to sound like I'm whining or fact-checking, which I hate, but what she's saying is the mirror image of the truth. She doesn't care. She's got no reference points in the truth, and she's an extremist. And she's a former prosecutor, and no former prosecutor should hold power, period. I've covered them my whole life. I've intensely disliked every single one of them for good reason. I think they're scary, they're liars, and they're megalomaniacal. And they put people in prison for political reasons. I've seen it again and again and again, and she's one of them.
Unbelievable. All that was unbelievable. Oh my God. For their main argument is that Kamala's a liar, and that's why she's bad. Kamala is a liar. You have any thoughts on Trump? Zero? None? Not a one? In fact, you fucking endorsed him, right? In fact, what was the number? Washington Post counts 30,573 false or misleading claims in 4 years by Trump. That's just 4 years. Now, by the way, let's be kind to them, okay? Let's be reasonable here. Let's say, well, the Washington Post is bad. I don't agree with all of their interpretations of what does and doesn't count as a lie. All right, let's cut it in half. Just over 15,000 lies told in 4 years. Kamala Harris is a liar. She's a liar. I can't. These people are partisan hacks. You know what the difference is between us and them? You know what the difference is? I am more than willing, where it is necessary and where it is correct, to say, Kamala's fucking wrong about this. Kamala's lying about that. This policy right here is unacceptable. We've done it 1,000 times, especially when it comes to her foreign policy portion of her speech, where she's talking about Gaza and she both sides of the fucking genocide. All the evidence indicates she's going to continue Joe Biden's policy when it comes to arming Israel, right? I call that out. Everybody else you know on the left, or 90% of them, are calling that out and being honest and being accurate about it. The difference is we actually can critique our own side when it's fair, right? Tucker Carlson cannot do it with Donald. He can't do it. He can't do it. So the main crux of an argument he uses against Kamala Harris is she's a fucking liar. When your guy is the main thing he's known for on the political landscape is lying through his fucking teeth all the time forever. Forever. Remember, it was Tucker Carlson who said, not that long ago, we covered it, that he was ashamed of himself for when he saw January 6th being against it. So he's admitting, now I'm for it. Okay, well, do me a favor. Shut the fuck up forever about the George Floyd riots and protests and the mobs that were burning down cities, and we're against the violent crime. Oh yeah? You're against the violent crime? You're against it? So a mob storming the Capitol and rioting and delaying the certification of the vote to prevent the peaceful transfer of power, you're totally cool with that. You know what else he's okay with? All of Donald Trump's crimes. He says they're all fake. It was 91 criminal charges. I believe now the number's down to 86 criminal charges. Already found liable in a bunch of civil cases: tax fraud, insurance fraud, business fraud, defamation as it pertains to a sexual assault. All those things, sees it, doesn't care. Doesn't care about the fraudulent business stuff vis-a-vis the hush money payment. Doesn't care about that. Doesn't care about the fraudulent elector slates. Doesn't care about the documents case. Doesn't care about the various war crimes, right? Does not care about the various war crimes. How many times have we been over Trump's foreign policy record? Tucker's one of these morons who tries to pretend like Trump is anti-war. You know, the Democrats are pro-war and Trump is anti-war. Yeah, the guy who increased drone strikes 432%, really anti-war. Kept us in Iraq, kept us in Afghanistan, bombed Syria, allowed Israel to annex illegally Golan Heights, which is Syrian land. Now he said, no, that's actually Israeli land because Trump said so. He's got no criticisms of any of this stuff. There was a time when Tucker tried to pretend like I'm a peacenik when it comes to Iran. Really? Well, then why have you said nothing about Trump assassinating a top Iranian commander? You said nothing about that. You said nothing about Trump ripping up the Iranian nuclear agreement. You said nothing about that either. This is all a joke. This is a joke. He's a joke. So anyway, these people are so dishonest. I would love to get to the point where we could just focus on serious policy talk as it pertains to Kamala Harris, because right now she's the favorite to be the next president of the United States. But there's so much lies and misinformation out there being pushed out there by the right that it's like we have to spend all of our time just debunking their absolute horseshit. And apparently that's what we're here to do. All right, guys, that's the show. Love you all very much. Everybody subscribe to the channel. That helps out big time. Click that bell icon so you get a notification every single time a video drops. I would deeply, deeply appreciate that. Thank you to everybody who supports this show on Patreon. Remember, I've never had a single conversation with any advertiser. And that's all I got for you, man. I will be back tomorrow. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.